Welcome everyone to TradeStation and another edition of the Art of TradeStation. My name is Michael Burke. I'm Vice President of Client Training here at TradeStation, and today we're going to be talking about RadarScreen and the incredible power it provides in finding unique trading opportunities. Please keep in mind that the following presentation is for educational purposes only. All of the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstration purposes and are not recommendations. Active trading is not suitable for everyone. Futures and options trading carry a high degree of risk. You can find disclosure information on the TradeStation website. The new TradeStation University website is up, making it easier to find all of the great educational resources we offer. Take a look. You can find upcoming events, recently uploaded videos, featured videos, and much, much more. So take a look at the new TradeStation University website. Did you know inside the TradeStation platform is a great app called VideoStation? VideoStation allows you to easily access all of our videos on the TradeStation website and view them right within the platform. You can see upcoming live events and the latest video uploads. So take a look at VideoStation. It's available in the app selector inside of the TradeStation platform. In this session, we're going to talk about what makes RadarScreen so special and demonstrate many of the features in context with some really unique custom indicator scans that I'm going to show you. We're going to talk about all the key features for traders, how to navigate the window, and to tap into all the power of RadarScreen. So I'm going to be providing some sample indicator scans for RadarScreen and some workspaces. Those will be available with the archive of this video, right on the same page as the video player. And we're going to talk about pattern scans. We're going to talk about indicator scans, both trending and counter trending. And we're also going to look at a RadarScreen scan using relative strength. The first thing you need to know about RadarScreen is that it is your watch list inside the TradeStation platform. This is where you're going to monitor market prices for all the symbols that you follow. But more than that, RadarScreen is a real-time scanning tool of technical historical indicators that you would normally use in a chart. Every row in RadarScreen is a chart with the same historical data and the bar intervals that you would normally look at a chart. Normally you would look at an indicator on one or chart or two charts or a few charts, but in RadarScreen you can use that same analysis that you normally do in a chart, but now you can do it on hundreds of symbols in RadarScreen in one window, all in real time. One of the key features of RadarScreen is the dynamic sorting and ranking. So when you have a column in a quote window, it shows the value for whatever that column is. It could be net change, it could be volume, whatever it is. And if you have a list of symbols, you can sort by that column and rank all of those symbols by either the volume or the net change or whatever column value is being calculated or displayed. That is really incredible. But when you think about that, and then you think about the fact that I'm doing it with stochastic or I'm doing it with MACD, now it becomes incredibly powerful. I can sort and rank on a stochastic value. I can sort and rank on a Bollinger Band value. Those kinds of things allow you to find unique opportunities that you wouldn't normally be able to find unless you could quickly scroll through hundreds of charts, which is just not practical. Also built into TradeStation are a number of symbol lists. There's dozens and dozens of pre-built symbol lists that make it really easy for you to populate the window. And what I really want to do in this session is show you how you can really leverage RadarScreen using easy language with custom scans. You can take standard indicators and really turn them into powerful visual scans within the RadarScreen window. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is just kind of touch on this idea that most of us are used to using charts for finding trading opportunities. We have some symbols that we want to trade. We put some indicators into those charts, and then we wait for those charts to alert. And we may have a watch list, and we may change symbols and look around, but using charts is really not an efficient way to find trading opportunities on a large number of symbols. And that's what we were thinking when we developed RadarScreen 20 years ago. The idea was, what if we could take an indicator like RSI here in the chart or stochastic in the chart, and instead of looking at it on one symbol, let's look at it on 100 symbols or 500 symbols and look to see out of those 500 symbols which ones are the most overbought or the most oversold or which ones are alerting for a new trade. So those kinds of things are what RadarScreen can do for us. So let's take a look at my first example here. What I've done is I've created two custom indicators in RadarScreen both of them using the RSI concept, which is relative strength. This is the Wells-Wilder indicator from that great Wells-Wilder book. He created RSI and ADX and all those kinds of indicators, and RSI was one of those. This is a counter-trending indicator, and we can see the RSI value here. This is the same RSI value that's in the chart, but here we are also giving us an indication of whether that value is oversold or overbought. So we can see very quickly which symbols are overbought or oversold based on that RSI concept. And if RSI is signaling a new bullish or bearish trade, in the alerts column, we get that gold bar with that indication. Now, again, what makes RadarScreen incredibly powerful is the ability to sort on any of these columns. So if I want to sort on the RSI value, I can just double-click on that column heading, and suddenly I can see all the symbols that are oversold. And if I double-click again, I can see all the symbols that are overbought, so I can group those together. If I sort on the alert column, I can sort and see all the new indicator alerts for RSI. These are potentially new trades. And so we can see Apple has a new bearish alert and Disney has a new bearish alert. And since the windows are linked together, I can click on Apple and instantly see the RSI indicator in context with what's going on with the bar. So I get the alert here in RadarScreen, I click on the symbol, and suddenly I'm looking at RSI on Apple, and I can determine whether I think that that is a new bearish trade or not. I can see it in context with the historical data, and that's really important to me. I want to be able to find opportunities in RadarScreen, but then I want to confirm what I'm looking at in the chart. And I did the same thing here with stochastic. So here, stochastic and RSI are two very similar indicators, and often I'll use them as confirmation. If I see a new opportunity in RSI or I see a new opportunity in stochastic, I'll take a look at RSI as well and see where RSI is compared to stochastic. And typically they line up together. If I sort on the stochastic signal, you can see that most of the symbols that are overbought for stochastic are also overbought for RSI. Not all of them, of course, but some of them. And if I sort again, I can see which ones are oversold versus RSI. And of course, the real feature here is the ability to sort on the alert column and see any new trades that are available here. Just like any indicator in charting, if you right-click on the column heading and go to Format Stochastic, here, all the same inputs parameters that you would have in a chart you have here, so you can use the same input parameters that you're using in the chart in RadarScreen. You can use the same interval. Now, changing the interval in RadarScreen is also very easy. You'll notice that all of these symbols right now are daily, so we're looking at daily scans of RSI and stochastic. If I right-click on the column heading, I can say Format All Symbols, and this gives me the ability to change the interval. So if I wanted to make these all 30-minute charts, instead of daily stochastic and daily RSI, if I'm an intraday trader, I can just change it to 30 minutes, and now I'm looking at 30-minute RSI and 30-minute stochastic. And again, the chart is linked to RadarScreen, so the interval in the chart also changes. So I'm looking at apples to apples here. So here, American Airlines has a new bullish trade. We can see that here in stochastic, where the slow is crossing above the fast there. So we see that pattern, and we can decide whether or not we think that's a trade that we want to make or not. So right-click on the column heading, adjust the input parameters, and right-clicking on the symbol column heading up here allows you to change the interval. Now I'm changing all of those symbols at once, but you can actually highlight a group of symbols and make some daily, some 15 minutes, some 30 minutes, all within the same window. Or you can just change one symbol just by double-clicking in that cell, and you can just change the interval for one row. So it's very, very powerful, very, very flexible. So that's a counter-trending idea. If you're a trending trader, we can do the same thing. Here, we're looking at two custom indicators that use MACD and DMI. Both are trending type indicators. And you can see them here in the chart. We have MACD and DMI. So here in MACD, it very clearly shows us which symbols are bullish or which symbols are bearish. One of the things I like to do, this is the Dow 65 composite. As a sentiment of where the overall market is, it's kind of cool just to look to see how many stocks are bullish or how many stocks are bearish using MACD or DMI. So this kind of gives you the sentiment of the overall market. So right now, out of the 65 stocks, there's only about 20 that are bullish and 40 that are bearish today.
And so that's kind of an interesting way to grab a sentiment of the overall market very quickly. If I sort on alert, I can see those symbols that are alerting for MACD right now on a daily bar. So if we look at Walmart here, we see we've got a new bearish alert in Walmart. And we can see that MACD indicator and look at that in context. So MACD is kind of flattened out here. So we're probably in a little bit of a consolidation. So we're going to kind of look for a breakout. So it's not sure that I would take that particular trade, but it's a great way of finding those kinds of opportunities. Take a look at the MACD indicator. I've added a column to this scan, which is X bars ago. This is an idea that you'll see once in a while in some indicators in TradeStation. And what it tells us is how many bars ago was there an alert in MACD. So for example, you may open up the computer in the morning and there's no MACD alerts. So what you can do is you can sort on X bars ago, and you can see all the ones here. These are alerts that occurred yesterday. So you might want to take a look. For example, GE had a new bearish alert yesterday. So this has actually been bearish for a while. MACD kind of retraced a little bit. MACD peaked a little bit above zero, and then we got the new bearish alert yesterday. So 1 bar ago means that there was a MACD alert 1 bar ago. 2 means that it was 2 days ago, and so on and so forth. If you sort it the other way, you can see there are stocks that have not had a MACD cross in many, many days. And you can see that here we went bearish in MACD back in September, and we've been bearish in Burke ever since on the MACD indicator. So DMI is the same thing. We can sort. One of the things I really like to see is when I get a new bearish or bullish trade in DMI, and I also get it in MACD. So here AES is telling us that there's a new bullish trade in both the MACD indicator and the DMI for AES. So I always try to use indicators in combination, and especially trending indicators. I'm looking for confirmation. So here with DMI, basically DMI is another trending type indicator. This is another Wells-Wilder indicator. One of the calculations that's derived from DMI is ADX. So many of you probably heard of the ADX indicator. That was created by Wells-Wilder as part of the DMI concept. So DMI stands for Directional Movement Index. I also included in the DMI scan whether the signal was bullish or bearish and any new trades, what the DMI calculation is. But I also wanted to show you what the ADX trend was. So ADX tells you the trendiness of a market. One of the things that's very popular in technical analysis these days, and if you read books or you go to seminars, a lot of people talk about confirmation or multi-time frame confirmation. And so I wanted to show you a simple example of that. If you look at the chart, you'll notice that there are 3 moving averages on the chart, a 13, a 21, and a 34. The idea here is that you're going to confirm the trend of the market when all 3 moving averages are trending up or trending down. Here you can see that when they all turn blue, that's the beginning of the trend. When they're gray, the market is consolidating or moving sideways. When they're red, the market is trending down. Another way of visualizing that same idea is what's called a ribbon. And a ribbon basically just has the same concept, except that instead of plotting it on the bars, it just gives you a color ribbon at the bottom. So if you don't like stuff plotting on your bars, or you're looking to save some room, you can use either of these concepts to display the same information. And of course, we want to see this same concept in RadarScreen. And so here in the RadarScreen indicator, you can see we've applied that same moving average pressure scan, which is 3 different moving averages. And again, in RadarScreen here, you see there's a column that shows you the different length moving averages for each of the calculations. So there's a short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And we can now look at, in this case, we can look at all the symbols in the Dow 65 and see what the mode of the trend is across 3 different time frames. So if you find a trade in DMI or moving averages or MACD or whatever trending indicator that you're looking at, you can use this moving average pressure scan to confirm what is the short, medium, and long-term mode or the trend of that market. And of course, these are all inputs, so you can change the inputs. You can look at longer term or shorter term. This is on a daily chart, so really the daily interval controls here. You can change the interval and change those inputs to really make it whatever you want. Another important concept in technical analysis these days is relative strength, comparing how one performance of one symbol compares to another symbol or a group of symbols. If you're looking to see what symbols are outperforming other symbols or what symbols are outperforming a benchmark index, I created an indicator in charting called relative strength. This is a multi-symbol indicator, which means it requires two symbols in charting. And the idea here is that we have a core symbol and then a benchmark. Whenever the indicator is above 0, that means that the core indicator is outperforming the benchmark. And whenever this indicator dips below 0, then the core symbol is underperforming the benchmark. So this is Apple versus the spider. And you can see how over time oscillate between overperforming or underperforming the other. In RadarScreen, what I want to know what symbols are outperforming the benchmark and which ones are underperforming the benchmark. In fact, which ones are most outperforming and which ones are most underperforming. This is a custom indicator called relative strength in RadarScreen. And it has 4 different calculations. It has year to date. It has a short-term, medium-term, and long-term. In this case, I'm looking at a 3-day relative strength, a 13-day relative strength, and a 33-day relative strength based on the daily bar here. And so if I double-click on year to date, we can quickly see what symbols have really underperformed year to date this year. So we have GE, and we have Matson, United Airlines, Verizon. So these symbols have all underperformed. In fact, all of these are underwater from year to date. If I double click again, I can see those symbols that have performed the best year to date. So here we have Boeing and Apple, of course, Caterpillar. We can very easily, quickly see what symbols are overperforming and underperforming. So one of the cool features of this indicator, if I go to the inputs, is that I allow you to specify a benchmark symbol. So if you're looking at NASDAQ 100, you could put the Qs here. If you're looking at an industry group, you might put the sector ETF here. And then I highlight the benchmark here in the RadarScreen scan. So since SPY is the benchmark, what I do is I change the background color of those cells to gold so that you know where the benchmark is. So here, everything above the gold spider has outperformed the spiders year to date. Everything below has underperformed. So it's just a great way of seeing what symbols have outperformed or underperformed on a list of symbols. So in this relative strength list, I built a couple of symbol lists for you. So for example, the Dow 65. If you go to Insert at the top and click on Symbol Lists, here you can access all the symbol lists that come with TradeStation. You can access the symbol lists that you've created. You can access the industry group symbol list from Reuters. And of course, all of the TradeStation symbol lists, which include index components like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100. You can access all of those here and add all of those symbols to the window. Just highlight a list, click View Symbols, and then OK, and that'll add them into the window. I created another tab down here at the bottom. You'll notice I have a number of tabs in RadarScreen. So you can organize symbol lists using pages along the bottom of RadarScreen. So you don't have to have a different RadarScreen window open for every list. You can just create some new tabs down here. Just right-click and say Insert Tab, and you can add another tab and create another symbol list. So my ETF list here includes the spider sectors, some commodity ETFs like oil and gas ETFs, and I've even added our new Bitcoin indexes here. So if you're wondering what those Bitcoin indexes are in TradeStation, I've added them here for you in the ETF tab. And again, just kind of finishing up on this concept, this is the spider financial sector, and these are the top symbols in that sector. So you can find the sectors that are best performing and then do a deep dive into that sector, the symbols in that sector, and then see which symbols in that sector are doing the best or doing the worst within that sector. So there's a lot that you can do with relative strength and sector analysis here in RadarScreen. All of the sample indicators and workspaces that I'm showing you here live in this zip file that I'm putting into the chat. Make sure that you install the ELD files first and then open the workspaces. The last concept that I want to talk about is pattern scanning. So one of the very first indicators I ever wrote for TradeStation when I was a client of TradeStation was a candlestick scan, and I've used that candlestick scan ever since. And the idea is that instead of having multiple indicators for all the different candlestick patterns, I put them all into one indicator and one scan. so that I could quickly identify unique candlestick patterns on a chart, and I put a little name on there so I can start learning what pattern is what. So here you can see there's a hammer. If it's blue, that means that that is a bullish pattern. If it's magenta, that means that it's a bearish pattern. And it's just a great way of seeing different patterns and what that pattern means on the chart. The other indication or the other pattern that I'm looking for here in charting is a key reversal pattern. This is another pattern that I learned many, many years ago. In fact, the founders of TradeStation and Omega Research, one of their favorite patterns was the key reversal pattern, which I still like today. Basically, it looks for a lower low and a higher close, or a higher high and a lower close. And you can see those with these little crosses show the different key reversal patterns. And what I really like is I like to see a bullish or bearish candle pattern and a key reversal pattern at the same time on the same bar. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And so obviously in RadarScreen, I can use these two concepts again to find candlestick patterns on a list of stocks, and I can see if they line up with any key reversal patterns on the same bar. So like IBM today has a bullish engulfing pattern and a key reversal up. So if I click on IBM, there I can see that reversal, and I can decide whether or not I think that's a trade or not. What else do we have here? So here, Kirby Corp, I don't really know what they do, but they have two bullish candle patterns, and which are very similar, and a key reversal up. So it's pretty cool. Think about it this for a second. This candlestick pattern scan in RadarScreen allows you to find what is the active candle pattern on the last bar of every chart for any symbol that you need at any interval that you need. So if you're an intraday trader and you're looking for 30-minute candle patterns, or you're a long-term trader looking at weekly candle patterns, this is a tool that would allow you to put all the stocks in the S&P 500 and see if any of those stocks have the particular candle pattern that you're looking for. That is incredibly powerful. When you combine the fact that you can then customize these rules and these calculations for the way that you trade, there's really nothing like it. It's incredible. And we're so lucky as retail traders to have this kind of technology. Normally what happens is that somebody creates this cool technology and then some big institution buys that company and takes it off the market. But here, TradeStation makes RadarScreen available to all retail traders, and it puts us on a real even playing field with big traders who have really sophisticated tools. So definitely take advantage of RadarScreen. And as I said, the easy language code is open, so you can go into the code and see what I did and how I built the different scans. And you can plug in your own indicators and plug in your own pattern. You can do with just a little bit of knowledge of easy language. And I encourage you to really take TradeStation to that next level and learn a little bit about easy language so you can do your own customization. So here's my contact information. And definitely visit the TradeStation University website. This event will be archived, so you can watch it again. It'll be up in a couple of days. I'm going to push the zip file into the chat one more time. Also, if you have any comments or feedback about this webinar, or you have some ideas for indicator scans or things you'd like to see, I always love talking about those kinds of things with our customers. I'm always looking for the next great idea. The next Art of TradeStation will be a month from now, and we're going to talk about volatility tools for options traders. So if you're an options trader, I'm going to show you some really incredible tools that TradeStation has built in that you can tap into using RadarScreen too. So I'm going to show you how you can scan for unique volatility opportunities and how you can scan for put-call ratios and all kinds of unique data points that are associated with volatility and options volume. So that'll be a webinar in the middle of December. Make sure you register for that, and hopefully I'll see all of you at that event. So thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon, and good luck in your trading. We'll see you again. Thanks a lot.